and see how well that works. Now, all I'm trying to do is get them back closer down to the 10 breaths per minute. Okay. Now, the other part of that is I got to let it work. You got to remember, morphine takes, just the onset of morphine IV is 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. The peak effect really isn't for about 15 minutes. So give it a chance to work, give it the 15 minutes, and then see if that respiratory rate's back down around 12 or 14. If it's not, okay, now I'm going to give another 2 milligrams IV. Okay. And I give them that 15 minutes and see if we're back under control. Understanding like IV morphine, the durations, about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how their body's functioning. If I'm trying to do it IM, then I typically kind of double that dose, or a good number. A lot of times is IM. I'll give them like 5 milligrams of morphine IM. If I'm in a transition now, again, they've already had some narcotic on board. This isn't starting from scratch. Okay. Because a lot of time, back to context, people get those things confused where they're like, if I've done nothing to this guy, he's had no pain control at all. Let's say it's a femur fracture or shot through the leg or whatever it is. And I've only got morphine, then I'm using a bigger dose up front. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about they've got some pain control on board. The other great thing about ketamine, and the reason that one of the big pushes we were driving with guys with ketamine was because it typically lowers the narcotic dose that you need long term. And so my 2 milligrams of morphine, if they've had ketamine prior, is going to work much better than if I just they had no ketamine on board and I was using my 2 milligrams of morphine as, from scratch. So that's the other reason. Like, I don't want to just go full bore as I'm making that transition. It's because they've got some pain relief on board. I'm just trying to modulate that into a longer term situation and stretch out my narcotics, that way, So that's kind of a gist on how I would do it. But respiratory rate, honestly, is the key. A lot of times, people, and this happens in the civilian world all the time. It's like, new, recovery room nurses, as people are coming out of the operating room, a patient may lay over there and they're like, oh, I got to check, vitals